You know what's crazy? There was a time when a kid from Sheffield walked into boxing rings like he owned the entire sport. And honestly, for a while there, he kind of did. We're talking about Prince Naseem Hamed. Not just Naseem Hamed. No, you had to call him Prince, because that's what he believed he was, boxing royalty. And the scary part? He backed it up. Every single time. Picture this. It's the late 90s. Boxing's lower weight classes are usually ignored by casual fans. Featherweights don't sell. They don't draw crowds. That's what everyone thought.
What do you say to them now?
Then came Nas. This man entered rings on flying carpets. Literal flying carpets hovering over the crowd. He reenacted Michael Jackson's Thriller video, wearing Halloween masks and dancing down the aisle. One time, he had himself carried in on a golden throne by a procession of bodybuilders while women in bikinis threw rose petals. This wasn't wrestling. This was professional boxing. And he was making it look like the greatest show on earth. But here's the thing. Once that bell rang, the circus stopped, and pure violence began. Hamed fought southpaw with his hands down by his waist. Boxing purists hated it. Coaches everywhere told their students, never fight like that. But Naseem didn't care about conventional wisdom. He'd lean back from punches like Neo dodging bullets in the Matrix, then uncork a left hand that would send grown men crashing to the canvas like they'd been hit by a truck. His record was absurd. 31 knockouts in 35 wins, an 84% knockout rate. He became WBO featherweight champion at just 21 years old and defended that title 15 times.
To be on the verge here. It is stopped in round.
He added the IBF belt, then the WBC belt. The man was collecting world titles like Pokemon cards, and he let everyone know about it.
And I get him my shots, and he didn't take my shots, no.
Naseem wasn't just confident, he was insufferably arrogant. He'd taunt opponents during fights, dropping his hands, sticking out his chin, daring them to hit him. He'd grimace at them mid-round, do little dances, talk trash between punches. In press conferences, he'd guarantee knockouts, predict the exact round, then actually deliver on those predictions.
And a hard left, and Kelly's down for the third time.
Against Kevin Kelly at Madison Square Garden in 1997, Hamed himself got knocked down 3 times.
On Kelly's first serious landed punch would be that the Prince was exposed as a fraud.
But still stopped Kelly in the 4th round.
Prince, and a hard left, and Kelly's down for the third time.
Exactly as he'd promised.
Got a half a minute, and he is definitely hurt.
George Foreman on commentary called it the greatest featherweight fight he'd ever seen. Hamed was pulling in millions of dollars per fight. In a division where fighters struggled to make 6 figures, he was earning 8-figure purses. British television would get 10 million viewers for his fights. In a country of 60 million people, that's absolutely mental. He drove Ferraris, wore leopard print shorts, and made sure every camera captured his swagger. He was, by his own admission, convinced he was unbeatable. Not just good, literally unbeatable. Destined by God to never lose. By April 2001, his record stood at 35-0 with 31 knockouts. He was the lineal featherweight champion, the man who beat the man. And up next was Marco Antonio Barrera.
Antonio Barrera.
Here's where the story gets interesting, or depending on how you look at it, sad. Barrera was a Mexican warrior coming off brutal wars with the likes of Junior Jones and Eric Morales.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
The guy had been knocked out before. He'd been in absolute wars. Meanwhile, Hamed had never lost. Never even really been hurt badly. The odds reflected this. Hamed was a 3-1 favorite. Some had him as high as 4-1. Money was pouring in on the Prince. British fans were booking flights to Vegas in droves, ready to watch their hero demolish another opponent and cement his legacy as one of the all-time greats. But something was off. While Barrera trained like his life depended on it at Big Bear, California, living in almost monastic conditions in the mountains, Hamed set up camp at Bing Crosby's old estate in Rancho Mirage. You know, the place with chandeliers, a miniature golf course, and all the luxury money could buy. Naseem had let himself balloon up to over 160 pounds after his last fight. With just 8 weeks to make 126 pounds, he spent most of his training camp not sparring or working on tactics, but desperately trying to shed weight. Running in sweatsuits, starving himself. The man could barely lift his head off the pillow days before the fight, and he was supposed to fight one of Mexico's toughest warriors. When legendary trainer Emmanuel Stewart arrived to oversee the final 2 weeks of camp, he saw young Mexican sparring partners tagging Hamed at will. Stewart, who'd trained champions like Tommy Hearns and Lennox Lewis, immediately knew something was wrong. Very wrong. Meanwhile, Barrera? The man was training like a possessed demon, shadow boxing for hours, working exclusively on counter-punching off the back foot. His team had spotted the blueprint. Don't rush Hamed. Don't give him openings for that devastating left counter. Stay patient. Circle away. Make him chase. Fight night arrived. The MGM Grand Garden Arena was packed. Thousands of British fans singing, waving flags, expecting coronation night for their prince. When Hamed made his walk to the ring, something was different. No somersault over the ropes, his signature move that he'd done his entire career. Some said he was too drained from the weight cut. Others said he just didn't have the energy. Either way, it set an ominous tone.
Boxing's royalty, Prince Naseem.
The first round started, and Hamed came out in full showman mode. Hands low, head movement exaggerated, grimacing at Barrera, trying to intimidate him with his usual antics. Barrera didn't bite. The Mexican stayed calm, circled away, and started picking Hamed apart with jabs. Nothing flashy, nothing wild. Just fundamental, beautiful boxing. Round after round, the same story. Hamed would load up for his big left hand, and Barrera would already be gone, moving counterclockwise, taking away every angle. Then he'd counter with sharp combinations that had Hamed looking confused. For the first time in his career, the Prince's tricks weren't working.
Hamed, he throws that big left hand. When he misses, he is off balance.
By the middle rounds, it was clear to everyone watching. Hamed was being outboxed. Badly.
Hard right hand by Barrera.
His stamina was shot from the brutal weight cut. His timing was off. Every punch he threw seemed to hit nothing but air, while Barrera was landing clean shots repeatedly.
Hands quiet.
That the Prince has developed since he was a boy.
He's not taking that advice. He's going for it.
He's been on the
The British fans in the crowd fell silent. This wasn't how the script was supposed to go. In the 12th and final round, Barrera even lost a point for hitting Hamed's head into the turnbuckle.
I don't think you like him much yourself, Jim.
I like him fine.
Yeah, for yourself.
It didn't matter. When the final bell rang, there was no doubt who'd won.
Can there be any doubt?
Antonio Barrera.
Unanimous decision for Barrera. Prince Naseem Hamed had been thoroughly, completely, and systematically dismantled. The first question everyone asked was, Would there be a rematch? Hamed had a rematch clause in his contract. He had 2 months to activate it. Boxing fans around the world wanted to see it. Wanted to know if Hamed could come back from his first loss, train properly, and reclaim his throne. The deadline came and went. Hamed said nothing. 13 months later, he returned to fight Manuel Calvo, a European champion nobody had heard of. Hamed won by decision in what was described as a sluggish and underwhelming performance. The crowd booed.
Well, he's back with a win, but he hasn't won any popularity.
There was no electricity, no magic. The sparkle was gone. That was his last fight. At 28 years old, with his entire prime ahead of him, Naseem Hamed walked away from boxing. He never invoked the rematch clause with Barrera, never tried to reclaim what he'd lost. Later, Hamed would admit the loss had destroyed something inside him. That unshakable self-belief that had carried him through every fight. The aura of invincibility was gone, and with it, his desire to fight. HBO, who had been building Hamed as their next superstar, lost interest. Adidas pulled their multi-million-dollar sponsorship. The magic carpet had crashed, and nobody wanted to watch the Prince try to put it back together. Looking back, the Barrera fight teaches us something boxing has tried to tell fighters for generations. Talent alone isn't enough. Charisma isn't enough. Even God-given gifts aren't enough. Preparation matters. Discipline matters. Respecting your opponent matters. Hamed trained in a mansion while Barrera trained in the mountains. Hamed partied in Vegas while Barrera studied film. Hamed believed his natural ability would carry him through, while Barrera prepared for war. And when they met in that ring, all the backflips and leopard print shorts and trash talk couldn't save Naseem from the harsh reality. He'd been outworked, outsmarted, and outfought. The great trainer Emanuel Stewart later said he knew the fight would go badly when he arrived at Hamed's camp. But by then, it was too late. The fight was signed. The money was paid. And Hamed's fate was sealed. Today, Naseem Hamed is in the International Boxing Hall of Fame, a testament to just how special his talent was. Ring Magazine gave him an honorary featherweight championship in 2019, making him the only fighter ever to receive that honor after retiring. But you can't help but wonder, what if he'd trained properly for Barrera? What if he'd taken the rematch? What if he hadn't let fame and fortune rob him of his hunger? We'll never know. What we do know is this. On April 7th, 2001, the most arrogant, cocky, entertaining fighter in boxing learned that confidence without preparation is just arrogance. And in boxing, arrogance gets you humbled. Marco Antonio Barrera didn't just beat Prince Naseem Hamed that night. He exposed him. He showed the world that beneath all the showmanship and bravado was a fighter who'd gotten comfortable, who'd stopped taking the sport seriously, who'd started believing his own hype. And boxing, as it always does, taught him a brutal lesson. The Prince fell that night in Vegas, and he never got back up.